So in the last class, we have discussed about the Swinburne's test and the DC mission. Now we'll see the brake test on the DC shunt motor. So brake test is nothing but a load test on a motor. So we have to connect a load, and when you are changing the load, so how the motor reacts to that changes in the load, we have to see here. So that in this class, now we'll discuss the brake test on DC shunt motor. So for performing that brake test, so we need the circuit diagram. The circuit diagram will be so we need to give the DC supply. And we'll connect an voltmeter to measure the supply voltage and ammeter to measure the line current of the motor. And then as it is a motor, we have to start with the starter. So that is the starter connection. So for Z, we have to give the field winding. We have to connect with the rheostat and connect a ammeter in the field winding. And for the armature, you have to connect the armature part. So for L, we have connected the line supply, and for Z, we have connected the field. So we have not drawn the field here. This is the field winding, and for A, you have to connect the armature. And as it is a brake test, so connect a drum system. This is the drum system. Right. So this is the drum system. So whenever we are trying, see here, these are the threads we are having. When we are tightening this one, this here have a belt around this drum. So we are having a belt here. So this belt will be tightened. So whenever this belt is tightened automatically, so the load on the motor is continuously increasing. So when you are tightening the belt. Right. So we are having two ammeters here. So one is to measure IL and one is to measure the field current IF, and it is the supply voltage voltmeter. So that once you are having once you have given the supply, so we will get the readings. So what are the readings we are going to get here? The supply voltage and the line current IL. and the field current IF. So these are the things we are going to get under no load condition. So before tightening the pulley, you can take this. So this you will get under no load condition. Under no load condition. So once you got these three and measure the speed from the tachometer. So you can measure the speed from the tachometer at the motor. So once you have measured the speed, it may be below 1500, but the rated speed of the motor for a 4-pole DC motor will be 1500 RPM. So adjust the field rheostat. So adjust the field rheostat so that you can get the rated speed in the motor. So whenever you got the rated speed in the motor, so at that condition, so perfectly you can take the V, IL and IF conditions. That means whenever you are rotating the motor under rated speed, so that the ammeter reading, both ammeter readings and the voltmeter readings you have to consider at rated conditions. So that you have to take at rated speed. Here మనం ఎప్పుడైతే DC సప్లై ఇస్తామో ఇమ్మీడియట్ గా వోల్ట్మీటర్ రీడింగ్ వచ్చి అప్రాక్సిమేట్ గా మీ సప్లై వోల్టేజ్ ఎంత ఇస్తుందో 220 వోల్ట్స్ అనుకుంటే మీరు మీ ల్యాబ్ లో 220 వోల్ట్స్ రీడ్ చేస్తుంది అండ్ అమ్మీటర్ రీడింగ్ ఈ అమ్మీటర్ రీడింగ్ కొద్దిగా ఉంటాయి. సో ఇక్కడ మీ ఈ పుల్లీ సేమ్ టైట్ చేయలేదు కాబట్టి ఈ బెల్ట్ అనేది కొద్దిగా లూజ్గా ఉంటుంది. ఈ బెల్ట్ ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే మీరు సో రైస్ మిల్స్ అలా చూసారంటే అక్కడ మోటార్స్ బెల్ట్ వేసి ఉంటారు. అక్కడ మీరు లోడ్ పడే కొద్దీ ఆ బెల్ట్ టైట్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. అదవుతుందా? ఆ విధంగా ఉంటాయి బెల్ట్ ఇక్కడ మోటార్. మీరు ఓల్డ్ రైస్ మిల్స్ ఎప్పుడైనా వెళ్ళండి బియ్యం తప్పించుకోవడానికి వాటికి ఎట్లా ఎప్పుడైనా వెళ్ళారంటే అక్కడ బెల్ట్ టైప్ మోటార్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఆ బెల్ట్ ఒకదాని నుంచి ఇంకో దాన్ని షిఫ్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు వాళ్ళు. సో రైస్ కావాలంటే రైస్ కి మిర్చి కావాలంటే మిర్చికి అలా షిఫ్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటుంది ఆ బెల్ట్స్. సో ఆ బెల్ట్ ఉంటుంది ఇక్కడ. మీరు ఎప్పుడైతే ఈ పుల్లి టైట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారో ఈ బెల్ట్ అనేది టైట్ అవుతుంది. సో ఇనిషియల్ స్టేజ్లో ఏం చేస్తారంటే ఫ్రీగా వదిలేసేయండి. ఈ బెల్ట్ అనేది అసలు టైట్ అవ్వకూడదు. మీరు ఆ బెల్ట్ని ఇలా కదిలిస్తే ఈజీగా వదులుతూ ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట. సో అప్పుడు నో లోడ్ కండిషన్ అంటాం. సో అంటే నో లోడ్ కండిషన్ లో మీరు సప్లై ఇస్తారు. అప్పుడు సప్లై ఇచ్చినప్పుడు సో ఈ 3 రీడింగ్స్ వస్తాయి. మీరు అవి తీసుకోకూడదు. యాక్చువల్గా ఏం తీసుకుంటే ఇక్కడ స్పీడ్ ఒకటి వస్తుంది. అప్రాక్సిమేట్గా 1400, 1430, 1440 అలా వస్తారు. ఈ రియోస్టాట్, ఈ ఫీల్డ్ రియోస్టాట్ ని వేరీ చేసి ఈ మోటార్ లో 1500 RPM ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా అంటే రేటెడ్ స్పీడ్ ఎంతైతే ఉంటుందో మీ ల్యాబ్ లోకి వెళ్తే ఆ మోటార్ మీద దిస్ ఇస్ ద రేటెడ్ స్పీడ్ అని ఒక ప్లేట్, నేమ్ ప్లేట్ అని అంటారు దాన్ని, ఆ ప్లేట్ మీద ప్రింట్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో ఈ మోటార్ 4 పోల్ మోటార్, సో దట్ 1500 RPM అనేది స్పీడ్ అనేది ఫిక్స్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సో ఎప్పుడైతే ఫిక్స్ చేస్తారో సో మీరు ఆ టాకోమీటర్ యూస్ చేసి మెజర్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఈ ఫీల్డ్ రియోస్టాట్ ని వేరీ చేస్తూ ఇక్కడ 1500 RPM వచ్చేలాగా టెస్ట్ చేస్తారు. ఎప్పుడైతే 1500 RPM వస్తుందో దట్ ఈస్ ద రేటెడ్ స్పీడ్. ఆ రేటెడ్ స్పీడ్ కండిషన్ దగ్గర వోల్టేజ్, కరెంట్, ఈ కరెంట్ మెజర్ చేస్తాం. సో దట్ టేక్ దట్ వోల్టేజ్, కరెంట్ అండ్ కరెంట్. సో బై యూజింగ్ దీస్ త్రీ you can calculate IA. So what is IA? IL minus IF. IL minus IF. And you can calculate the no load copper loss. PCU will be IA square RA and armature resistance. So ఇక్కడ ఈ రోటార్ డయామీటర్ ఉంది కదా. సో దట్ ఇక్కడ మీరు ఈ 2 టెర్మినల్స్ కి ఇక్కడ ఒక టెర్మినల్, ఇక్కడ ఒక టెర్మినల్ కి మిడిల్ లో సో పాజిటివ్ టెర్మినల్ ఆఫ్ మల్టీమీటర్ అండ్ నెగిటివ్ టెర్మినల్ ఆఫ్ మల్టీమీటర్ ఇక్కడ మెజర్ చేసి మల్టీమీటర్ ని ఓమ్ లో పెట్టారంటే సో ఈ రెసిస్టెన్స్ అంతా మెజర్ చేయొచ్చు. ఆర్మేచర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్. సో దట్ మెజర్ ద ఆర్మేచర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ డైరెక్ట్లీ అండ్ యూ కెన్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ ద copper loss, right? And it is very small in the case, and the DC motor will take some supply under no load condition only to supply the losses. Therefore, so the total copper constant loss or iron loss will be V into IL. Total supply is exactly equal to the total losses. So exactly ఎంత లాస్ ఉంటాయి అంత లాసెస్ మీరు అక్కడ తీసుకుంటారు, right? This is the iron loss. So once you calculate the iron loss, now we have to start the test. Now see here. So the tabular column consisting of supply voltage, the line current. So it will be F1, weight F1, and it will be F2. So F1 weight and F2 weight separate this one, and then speed. Let me draw this one in the next page. So take the supply voltage, the line current, and F1, F2, speed N, and the power input V into IL, torque, power output, and percentage efficiency. And where the torque you can calculate, it will be force, shear torque is equivalent to force into radius is the formula. Where force is M, you can take the force as the resultant force, the difference between the F1 and F2. F1 minus F2 into its radius multiplied with its gravity, based on the gravity. Units will be Newton meter, right? Newton meter. And the power output will be 2 pi nt divided by 60. That is the power output formula. Whereas power input is V into IL. And percentage efficiency is power output divided by power input into V. So that these are the things we are having. So we are having V, IL, you can calculate the power input, F1, F2, the gravity will be same, 9.8. And the radius of the diameter drum. So here take the scale or tape and measure the radius of the diameter of the drum, and then divided by 2 will be the radius of that one. Right. So take that one and you can calculate the torque in the machine, and after that you can get the output. So if you see the procedure, so first of all you have to connect the circuit as per the instructions given by your faculty, right? So please avoid any that means any loose connections. So if you are giving any loose connections, it may cause sparking at that particular location. So that you have to give the connections perfectly, right? So first of all, keep the field rheostat at minimum resistance position. Keep the field rheostat at minimum resistance position. So after keeping the field rheostat at minimum resistance position, we have to check that the motor should be no loaded. So check the motor is on no load. That is, the belt is free to move. The belt is free to move. Right? So start the motor by using the starter. Start the motor by using the starter. So once you have started, so please adjust the field rheostat such that it has to get the rated speed. Adjust the field rheostat to get the rated speed. So once you got the rated speed, take the note readings and then adjust or apply the load gradually in steps by adjusting the spring balance. by disturbing the spring balance. This is the spring balance. And then take the readings, and finally you have uh, to lose the load, that means remove the load slowly, and then we have to do the calculations. So once I done the calculations, finally we have to calculate the percentage efficiency. So you have to take power output versus different parameters. So the first parameter is the torque. So torque is continuously increasing one, load versus torque, not like this. And the speed. So this is the torque graph, and the next one is speed. When torque is increased, speed continuously reduces. When we are increasing the load, so speed will be continuously reducing quantity. And then efficiency. If you take the efficiency, it will be increasing like this and then decreases. This is the percentage efficiency. So what are the parameters I have taken? For green color, it will be percentage efficiency. For red color, it will be speed. For black color, it will be torque. So like that, you can plot the graph. So this is the graph. You have to remember the graph also. That is the result of the graph. Clear? So we have to remember the tabular column in the exam, and you have to write the procedure clearly and the circuit diagram clearly. This is the brake test on DC shunt motor. Brake test on DC shunt motor. And then the next test is the Hopkinson's test. So one of the toughest test on a DC machine is the Hopkinson's test. So to perform the Hopkinson's test, so first of all we have to see the circuit diagram. And the main purpose of Hopkinson's test, so it is also normally performed on the DC shunt machine. Perfect. So always it will be performed on the DC shunt machine. It may be generator or motor. It is used to predetermine the efficiency of the distribution. So it is one of the toughest tests. So you have to remember the circuit diagram. Connect a voltmeter initially to measure the supply voltage, and then an ammeter to measure the supply current. It is also called as back-to-back test. You have to connect two DC machines. So that is one system. And one more system, here it is. There is one more machine. So in this one machine is acting as a generator and the one other machine is acting as a motor, to which we are giving the electrical supply, that's a motor, to which we are connected the mechanical output, that's a generator. Let me try it. So here you have the voltmeter and here you have the different ammeters. So this will be a generator and this will be a motor. The mechanical output of the motor always drives the generator, and the electrical output of the generator is easy to sometimes easy to supply the input to the motor. So that this test is also called as the back-to-back test. So the major advantage of this method is, so it is the most economical method. The temperature rise and the commutation conditions of this method of these machines can be checked under rated load conditions here. So the stray load losses are considered as both the machines are operated under rated load conditions here. So here by using this method we can test the large machines, so how much they are consuming the power, and we can calculate the efficiency of the different loads. So if you see the calculation part, so this is the supply voltage V and it is the line current IL, and it is the field current of the motor, and it is the field current of the generator, and it is the line current of the generator, and it is the line current of the motor. So it is not the line current of the motor. So if you are having any ammeter here, that will come down. Suppose if you are placing any ammeter here in this line, just to make it. So this is the line current of the total machines. This will become the line current of the motor, and this is the line current of the generator. So for generator, EG is equivalent to V plus IAG. IAG will be where we have IAG. So here I have ILG, here I have IFG. So IAG will be here. This is IAG. IAG into RA. So RA you can calculate separately. And for the motor, EM or EB, for EB is equivalent to V minus, so IAM will be here, IAM into RA. And here it will be V minus and it will be V plus, therefore you can say the induced EMF of generator is always more than that of the back EMF of the motor, right? And also the induced EMF E is always proportional to N into 5. N into 5. Therefore, EG is proportional to speed of the generator and the flux in the generator, and EB is proportional to speed of the motor and flux in the motor. Therefore, speed of generator and speed of motor will be same. Why? Because they are coupled to each other. There is no chance that motor is running at different speed and generator will be running at different speed. Why? Because they are coupled, so that Ng is exactly equivalent to EMF. Therefore, EG is proportional to 5G and EB is proportional to 5M. Therefore, as EG is greater than EB, you can say the flux in the generator will be more than that of the flux in the motor. Flux in the motor. That means, which says that the shunt field current in the generator is always more than that of, or the field current IF, right? ISH. So that the shunt field current, the field current of generator is always more than that of the field current of the motor. So this is what we have to remember. And one more thing. So what is the total power output? The total power input. The total power input is equivalent to V into IL. It is for both the machines. For both the machines. And armature copper loss. The copper loss of motor, it will be IAM square RA, and the field copper loss, right? So this is armature, and similarly the field copper loss. Let me write separately here. Your confusions. The armature copper loss of motor will be IAM square into RA, and the field copper loss of motor, it will be IFM square R F, right? That is the resistance of the field winding of the motor, RFM. We can write RFM, where RFM is field resistance of motor, field resistance of motor. And similarly, the armature copper loss of generator, it will be IAG square RA, and the field copper loss of generator, it will be IFG square into RFG, where RFG is the field resistance of the generator. And the constant losses, like iron losses, frictional losses, are can be calculated as the constant losses are iron loss is equal to power input minus PC, the total copper loss. This total one is the copper loss. So it will be power input is V into IL minus of, you can substitute all these things, IAM square RA plus IFM square RFM plus IAG square RA plus IFG square RFG. So like that, we are having the constant losses, right? And the constant losses for one mission. Therefore, the this is the constant loss for both the missions, right? So remember here, for both the missions. The constant loss or the iron loss for one mission will be equivalent to the total loss divided by 2. The total iron loss or the copper loss, constant loss divided by 2. So like that, we can calculate the constant loss for one mission. And to calculate the efficiency, the power output of generator, therefore power output of generator is equivalent to V into IAG. Or you can take it as I into V into ILG. And the constant loss we have already calculated, it will be divided by 2, and armature copper loss and everything you can calculate. Therefore, the percentage efficiency of generator will be V into ILG divided by V into ILG plus IAG square RA plus IFG square RFG plus PI divided by 2. So the total loss. And similarly for motor, it will be power in output divided by power output plus power loss into 100. So for generator, as you know, the power output you have written in terms of power output, but whereas for motor you have write in terms of power input. So percentage efficiency of motor will be power input minus power loss divided by power input. So power input is V into IL M minus the total loss. Total loss are IAM square RA plus IFM square RFM plus PI divided by 2 whole divided by V into ILM into 100 into 100. So like that we can calculate the percentage efficiency of the motor. And if you see the advantages of this test, the advantages of Hopkinson's test are, so it is the most economical one, and the temperature rise at the commutation condition can be checked under rated load conditions here, and also the stray load losses are considered as both the machines are operated under rated load conditions, right? The percentage efficiency at different loads can be determined, and also so the large machines can be tested at rated load, so without consuming much power from the supply. Large machines can be tested at rated load without consuming much power from the supply. So these are the advantages. And the disadvantage of this method, so it needs two identical machines here, just here. So it needs two identical machines. One is acting as a generator, one is acting as a motor. It is very difficult to get two identical machines. Needs two identical machines. That is the major disadvantage of the method. That is the only disadvantage of this method. That is the Hopkinson's test. And the last test of the third unit is the separation of losses. So please complete this. We will go for the separation of losses test. So how can we separate the losses? from the missions. That is the last test. So if you see the circuit diagram, so again you have to give the DC supply. Connect a rheostat here. To the field winding and measure the field winding current. And one more ammeter here to measure the line current. It is the armature current. The rheostat. And connect a voltmeter across the armature. Here. So you can connect a voltmeter here. So this is the simple circuit diagram to separate the losses. And this is the table. So take the armature voltage, so let it be VA, and it is IA, the armature current, and it is the field current IF. So take VA, IF, IA, and we can measure the speed from here. So speed, the losses IA square RA. And the iron losses is equivalent to VA into IA minus IA square R. It's a very simple test. So VA you got, IF you got, IA you got, and speed you got, and calculate IA square RA and calculate separate the losses. So again the procedure, you have to connect the circuit diagram clearly, and please place this rheostat under minimum resistance position. Everything I will share with you. So the data of this, right, and apply rated voltage and adjust the field rheostat such that it has to rotate at the rated speed, and then adjust the armature rheostat and measure the three readings so that we can separate the iron losses. That's a very simple one. Right. So these are the calculations that you have to do for separation of the losses. Separation of the losses. So that is the end of the third unit. So I will share the notes of the third unit. Why? Because you need this testing purpose. That's testing notes for you clearly. I will share in the group. So to hear what you have discussed and all the things I will share there, so that you can prepare your own notes if it is possible. Or otherwise, you can download the textbooks, whatever I have mentioned to you from the websites. So otherwise, so better one is you have to buy the books. So P.S. Bimra and Nagratan Kotari, you can download those books so that you can get a good knowledge from the subject. So if you are having any doubts, please clarify doubts. So otherwise, we can conclude this session. Any doubts? Right, I will share the notes in the group and then try to prepare the notes. And your exam timetable has came or not?
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I will share the notes. Okay. Bye, Allah.
Bye.
నూతన హలో నూతన హలో నూతన హలో నూతన హలో నూతన
నూతన అనిత చెప్పు.
హ్యాపీ బర్త్డే
థ్యాంక్స్ అనిత.
నూతన ఏం చేస్తున్నావు?
ఏం లేదు, ఖాళీ.
హలో
అనిత
చెప్పు.
చెప్పు అనిత.
హలో
అనిత
పార్టీ ఎప్పుడు ఇస్తావు? కాలేజ్కి వచ్చాక ఇస్తావా?
కాలేజ్కి వచ్చాక ఇస్తాను పార్టీ.
బాగా ఎంజాయ్ చేయి.
అలాగే,
బాయ్.
బాయ్.